fucking shit. Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Hey Chris, how's your day today?
Oh, it's been good. My arm's been still hurting from my second vaccine.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. It's been a long week a little bit. Had a little migraines on and off, but it's all good.
That's good.
And I'm now healthy and can actively participate in society. Hopefully, soon. So that's great. How about you? How's your day?
It was nice. Before coming on the podcast, I decided to go out into some wide open grassy fields.
Okay.
I fucked up what I was going to say, but another word for that is Justin Fields.
God.
I was Justin Fields.
God damn.
I fucked that up. I had planned that since last week, and I totally fucked it up.
I kind of like that you fucked it up. Like, I think that kind of makes it even more stand out to me.
I legitimately did fuck it up.
Wide open field. Sorry, that's curtains. I
meant to say wide open grassy areas, so that I could then say I was Justin Fields.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, God. Well, yes, you heard it here first, folks. Unless you're actually tuned into the NFL news, which I hope you are, because this should not be your reliable source for news at all. So we got the draft out of the way, guys. Boom. We don't have to think about the stupid fucking sport till August. It's great. But no, we have a lot of NFL business to talk about today, because we do have to talk about the draft. We talk about everything that happened around the draft, including one storyline around a big old quarterback. And then after that, schedule release is coming next week. So we're going to give a little predictions about certain games and where they will land on the schedule. And we'll see if we're right post the schedule release. And then VBBFL. And hopefully we won't take as long last. We've done no trading, by the way.
Remember when we said we were going to talk through this? We didn't.
No, we did not. No, at all.
But we already hit record, so it's too late for y'all.
We're here, and we'll just try. We're gonna just do our best. I've already got a little bit of a head start on it, but I'm so maybe the training, it might end up maybe wasn't necessary. Maybe we were very good on it, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. It's always a fun time.
So, I'm super excited to make another team, and let's just dive right into it. All right. So let's bring us back. All right. Let's go back in time here. All right. What's the fucking car from Back to the Future? What's the fucking called?
The DeLorean.
The DeLorean. That's it. All right. You drive back, just a few days, which would be a huge waste of DeLorean's gas. We have to go back, and we are going to land on Adam Schefter's desk, okay? Because that would scare the fucking shit out of him. It would be hilarious. And two, because essentially we were going to draft day. Draft day is exciting, you get excited because there's gonna be that some shit could happen, that some exciting things that will happen during the draft, and some did. But the real story of that whole draft came into focus a little bit at around 3:19 p.m. Eastern Time, where the notorious NFL insider Adam Schefter tweeted this. Reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with the Green Bay Packers that he has told some within the organization that he does not want to return to the team, league and team sources told ESPN on Thursday. Now, this is fucking crazy. We talked about, at least me and Chet had this discussion on during the draft. He had the team Packers picking another quarterback. I do think that ultimately, even if Aaron Rodgers was on the move, I don't think they would have drafted the quarterback. I think the organization generally has their heels dug in on
Well,
Jordan
no,
Love.
if they had to draft, the only reason to draft another quarterback would be to motivate Rodgers, and if Rodgers not on the team, then they don't have.
Oh,
to do that.
that's true. So then the motivation angle just goes out the door at that point. Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid. I forgot about that angle of it. So ultimately, I'm glad that you were able to clarify, even though you weren't there for that segment. I appreciate it. Yeah,
I listened.
That's true. I appreciate that. You're a valid listener. So essentially, we've since that point, that like the chaos just like literally he tossed the fucking log. Adam Schefter tossed the log onto the NFL draft fire, which was already burning, and fucking exploded all of Cleveland. Okay, with this news because it basically not only that, and then like TV executives were like rubbing their hands together like with the friction and shit because they were so excited about having this like nice fun talking point to talk about for hours on end, and the excitement of potentially an Aaron Rodgers trade during the draft. Now, that didn't happen. There was no trade, so don't if you've only watched this podcast for all your NFL news, sorry to tell you,
I'm sorry.
Aaron Rodgers was not traded. He's still on the Packers. But let's talk about this because there's a lot to take in. There's been the reports about how obviously a lot of his angst about the organization has been because of Jordan Love being drafted by them. Then it's the fact that there's a report out that when Jake Kumaro, the wide receiver who now plays for the Bills, was released by the Packers, that also pissed off Aaron Rodgers. That happened a few days before the regular season started. And we've also been hearing that really he doesn't have any angst towards anyone else in the organization. It's really just Brian Gutekunst, the general manager. And he's been going around with his text messages to his teammates saying, calling Gutekunst Jerry Krause. Now, Matt, who is Jerry Krause?
Jerry Krause is the 1990s owner of the Chicago Bulls, who is infamous for dismantling the Bulls dynasty.
Yes, indeed. And so he essentially is comparing Gutekunst to the guy who, despite building the dynasty that was the Michael Jordan Bulls, also completely with his own ego dismantling it. And I think it's kind of weird that Rodgers is trying to compare what he's doing in Green Bay to the Bulls, but okay, that's fine. But it's certainly not a compliment. And at this point, the rumor has been that Denver created this big old draft, pile for them to trade to the Packers to get Aaron Rodgers. That did not end up going through during the draft. We don't know if the Broncos are still in on it, but they are like the number one team that's been looking into Aaron Rodgers, and it's with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock being the only quarterbacks on the roster. It kind of feels like that's the direction where the Broncos want to go. Before we go into anything further, just your general thoughts on what's going on with Aaron Rodgers.
I think that there was a meme going around that was like, oh, this is the part of the Packers off season, wherein the Aaron Rodgers gets mad.
Yeah.
And then it's like nothing happens. The Packers go 13-3. They get embarrassed in the playoffs.
It's just a cycle.
It's just a cycle.
Yeah.
So I do feel like we are in the cycle. As much as the Bears fan identity that I have wants to scream to the heavens, Aaron Rodgers will not be a Packer next year. I think he'll be back with the team.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, I'm with you, and I think that there is even some, like there are some of his teammates. Like I think David Bakhtiari came out and was just like, yeah, Aaron's gonna do what he's gonna do, and there was like this feeling that maybe maybe because he's just so headstrong about his convictions that he doesn't want to move away from them, that he is going to sit out out from the Packers and make sure that he does not participate with the team. You have guys like James Jones, another former teammate of the Packers, of Aaron Rodgers, who has been a close source for Aaron Rodgers as well, saying that there's a chance that they could mend fences. Like there's still this ability for them to mend fences, and this could be about money. There's some that are saying that it's not so much, but there's some saying that there are. The reports are very conflicting, and the other thing too that was weird that came out yesterday, I believe it was, that what Adam Schefter said on the Dan Patrick show, that the reason that he reported on that, and he said in the tweet that it was sources telling him on Thursday, but he said that it wasn't, there was nothing new that came in on that Thursday, that ultimately all the things that he was reporting on that Thursday was just all the things that were happening over the course of the season building up to that moment. Now, I understand that people are going to be upset by Schefter for sitting on that information and then releasing it, making it look like Rodgers was the one that leaked it out. I understand. I understand that Packers fans are going to get all hurt in their feelings about it. It's show business, baby. All right? The reporters tend to hold certain reports for game day and draft day. You see it all the time. Ian Rappaport, I watch NFL game day morning all the time. He holds reports till Sunday all the fucking time. Well, the day, because that's because you know that most people are going to be paying attention to it on the day that football's happening. And you know that during the offseason, the most people are going to be watching football on draft day, on NFL draft day. Like, most people are going to be paying attention during that day. So that's where you drop the bomb, because then you're gonna get more people. You're gonna get people dogpiling onto this draft. So I'm not gonna blame Schefter, but it is interesting that what Schefter ended up reporting, this is not something that just all of a sudden burst like it seemed like it did on Thursday. This is a lingering issue. This has been an issue for a while now, and for whatever reason. For years, yeah. At least since Jordan Love was...
At least 2 years.
Right, at least since Jordan Love has been picked up by the Packers, this has been a lingering issue. And so, I don't know, to me, the idea that this has been lingering, just, I don't know, it makes me feel like I don't think he's going to be so gung-ho about following through with this. I would be interested to see what happens when July and August comes around and training camp does start and we start to see him not show up to camp. I don't know, I think it's going to be really fascinating to see how it plays out. But I'm kind of with you where I think he's gonna be there, but also you never know. You don't know in this stupid fucking league. This is anything can happen. And Aaron Rodgers is, love him or hate him, he's known for being kind of melodramatic about things behind the scenes. So I feel like you can, it wouldn't be surprising either way.
I would like to personally thank Adam Schefter for fucking up the Broncos so much that they did not take Justin Fields.
That's true. That's true. I wonder if So which, by the way, a little bit more backstory. The whole thing started. The whole idea of the him wanting to drop the bomb that he did started with a report that happened earlier in the day where the 49ers called the Packers just to see if Aaron Rodgers was available, and then I guess the trade would have happened where the 49ers sent the number 3 overall pick to the Packers, maybe, and then got Aaron Rodgers in return, which I feel like would have been kind of just fucking wild. Why do you trade up in the draft for that? But, I mean, that's just fucking insane. That would be that would have been a situation. And then, of course, the storylines behind that about how the 49ers went with Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers in the drafts, and that started Aaron Rodgers' fall in the draft when he was back in 2005. The whole fucking rigmarole. It's just wild. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's just another. It's at least the other story of the Texans quarterback. That was fun to follow, and then all of a sudden the lawsuits came up, and you're like, okay, maybe this is no longer a fun time, because for good reason, justice should be served. But now we have a new quarterback story to follow. It's good. So it's good shit. We need this good quarterback drama powering us through the offseason. All right, enough about that. Let's talk about the draft itself. Number 1 overall, Jaguars take quarterback Trevor Lawrence. All right.
Surprise.
Not surprised at all. All right. Now, by the way, like I forgot to keep track. How do you know, Matt? Because I know that I know you said that you watched it, so I'm guessing you took notes on how Chet Avery did his mock draft. Do you think he did relatively well on this?
Let me check.
We'll like if you pull up the notes, I will. Yeah. I'll just keep going and we'll see. So like I mean we've talked enough about Trevor Lawrence, great pick for them, generational talent, guy that's gonna probably change the world. All right. Maybe that last part's maybe going a little too far, but who knows? I mean people are calling saying that he's like quarterback Jesus or something. I don't know. Then you have Jets. Quarterback, Jets took quarterback Zach Wilson. Again, totally not a surprise. That was 100% expected.
Yep.
For sure. And then 49ers. This was the big one. This is what we were waiting for. Who the fuck are they going to take? And the rumor was that it was going to be Mac Jones, and everyone was going to be like, oh my god, they took Mac Jones, like this 30th ranked prospect at number 3. Oh my god. No. They go with Trey Lance, the underdeveloped, but ultimately more like talented quarterback. If Trey Lance from North Dakota State U. So yeah, Trey Lance. You said it's a good pick. You like it?
Yeah, I like it. I think he's a good pick for Shanahan and to kind of develop for a bit. I think this is a good spot for him. Chet said Justin Fields.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, Justin Fields, actually, is a little far off, but but it is going to be coming up before Mac Jones, that's for sure. But then Falcons.
And I won't necessarily go through every one of Chet's picks.
Sure, no, it's okay. Just anything of note, you know.
Yeah.
Falcons. This one was a nifty one for me too. Like I didn't know if the Falcons were going to trade back, if they were going to go with a quarterback here, but no, they take the best player available, and that was Kyle Pitts, a generational potential changing talent. Which brings me to just real quick another like hitting the pause button here. Julio Jones may not be a Falcon when this offseason is done. We go and we kick off the NFL season, mainly because of cap issues. What do you think of that? That was a report that came from someone, and I wish I could remember who. But there has been reports that because of just cap space that they're looking to move Julio Jones.
I do think that if they can get something good for it, it would be a good move. And having Kyle Pitts is good insurance policy for that.
Yeah, like that's to me like yeah. At least you're not gonna lose like a ton of talent because at least you still have Calvin Ridley who does provide.
Calvin Ridley is an insane wide receiver, and I am so happy that I have him on my dynasty team.
yeah, like I think that I think that like the fact that you have him and you have Kyle Pitts, and I think don't they have someone behind Calvin Ridley? I'm gonna forget now. Ugh. All right, I'll check the roster.
I do not remember.
There was someone else that people were bringing up, like, oh, you also have this. Oh, maybe it was Russell Gage. I could be wrong, but that was just another just a nice backup.
Russell Gage was there. I don't know if he was like supposed to be like the next thing or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's just like it's a depth position, and ultimately, like, I think the thing is if they remove Julio Jones, that's like, oh no, maybe you're losing wide receiver depth. But Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver. Like people are saying that he plays wide receiver and tight end, which is probably why they should also keep Hayden Hurst. Like I know he's been talked about in trade rumors, but I feel like you keep him around just because he's more of a tight end.
Right.
And then you have Kyle Pitts maybe move into a more wide receiver type situation. But yeah, no, interesting pick by them. Bengals drafted wide receiver Jamar Chase.
This hit on this one.
Yeah, that's hey, I was very skeptical about this pick because I was like, man, you gotta protect Joe Burrow, though, man. I'm very concerned about Joe Burrow behind this offensive line still. But hey, if things hit for them, and especially since Jamar Chase already has the chemistry there for Joe Burrow because they're college teammates, like it could work. It could work. So I mean, I can't bash the pick because it could work out for them. I just worry about Burrow. I want him to stay healthy because he's a fun quarterback.
They'll have that one injured first round pick back.
Yeah.
And they drafted a guard in the early second round. They are addressing it, and I think we will see what the product is ultimately ends up being. If it works again, like this team could be like at least a middling team, just because of the quarterback being there, because the weapons are there for sure, and if the offensive line works, then you're in good shape. Then Dolphins drafted wide receiver Jalen Waddle. This ultimately was Jamar Chase was the start, but this was like the start of a like train of college teammates being paired with the quarterbacks. Yeah.
So Jalen Waddle being paired up with Tua for the Dolphins, and then Lions got the steal of the draft, or one of the steals of the draft at least, with Penei Sewell falling to them.
I agree.
For a rebuilding team right now, the Lions not expected to compete this year. Big time get. And their offensive line looks pretty good with some of the other guys they already have there with Ragnow and Glasgow.
Just gotta hope for them that they actually build to a point where Sewell will still be useful.
100%. Yeah, no, it's definitely a concern. But I think that was the fact that again that he landed in their laps. It reminds me of when and obviously it didn't quite work out for them. But at the time it was like, oh my God, the Jets got Leonard Williams, because Leonard Williams was considered like top defensive prospect, and he fell at number 6.
Yeah.
For the Jets, and I was like, oh my God, it didn't work out for them. It's working out more for the Giants, but it's very reminiscent of that. But hopefully it works out more out for Sewell and the Lions. Then Panthers draft the first defensive player in the draft, cornerback J.C. Horn. Now, you as the Panthers fan, I need to ask you, did you ultimately feel good about the lack of taking a quarterback here and do you feel like this was the best defensive player that they could have taken?
I feel that, well, I don't know about best defensive player they could have taken.
Sure.
I feel quarterback wise, I am fine with rolling the dice on Darnold.
Yeah.
And I've been clear on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think that he still has some talent. There's the Adam Gase principle is in play, and I was like, okay, J.C. Horn. I was expecting like mid first round, but okay, all right. And then I saw J.C. Horn's college production, which was like, and the numbers against like against like Kyle Pitts and Jamar Chase and Smith and Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
And how little those players did when J.C. Horn was lined up with them.
Yeah,
and I felt really good. This guy's a good talent.
Yeah, so. I think one of the things that was happening a lot in the build up to the draft was that Surtain became like the big name that like people had to get. Like that was the defensive player of this draft in a lackluster defensive draft, that he was the one that stood out, but as the draft built up, people really started liking Horn a lot more, and I felt like Horn kind of reached a point where he was on the same level as Surtain, and it was as safe of a pick as Surtain as well. And so, yeah, I do like the pick a lot for the Panthers, and it could work out for them. And they already they already drafted so many fucking defensive players, and I think it took them till at least, I want to say, either round 2 or 3 of this draft to finally, in the Matt Rule era, draft a offensive player.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely trying to build a young defense that's going to be powerful moving forward.
Listen, Panthers are going to be a team to watch out for. They're probably going to break my heart again and lose like 8 one-score games.
Potentially. But hey, if those close games, what could be helpful is good defense, and they could build towards that, you know. And Darnold generally is in a much better situation than he was with the Adam Gase Jets, you know.
You lose Adam Gase, you become better.
Generally, that's the rule. That's the rule of thumb.
You have Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, who you already have a relationship with. This isn't going to turn into Panthers talk, but Panthers, watch out. Watch out for them.
No, 100%. And now let's go to the Broncos here, because this was this was like for me when I was watching. I was like, I was that was a busy Thursday because I had like a school, I had attending class, and I had a meeting like soon after that, and I was in between those two things, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't in the meeting when the Broncos pick happened because to this point we don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers could be on the move, and And then the Broncos handed in their pick. I'm like, all right, well, I guess they're going to go with Fields or Jones, right? And no, neither on either. They take the best defensive player available, and that's Patrick Surtain. And this was surprising to me, and considering the fact that they do already have like some solid cornerbacks in their secondary. But hey, shore it up, right? Like go back to the no-fly zone type territory that they used to be, and maybe this is like where that's the direction that they're looking to go. So fascinating pick. And then next up was our first trade of the draft. It was the Eagles jumping over the Giants and trading with the Cowboys. And the Cowboys went back to 12, and this pissed me off. I was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're only doing this to fuck with the Giants even more after what you did to the franchise last year when you sat Jalen Hurts on Week 17. Like you're just like digging the dagger into the Giants' hearts way too much here, Eagles fans. But it's smart because most likely the Giants would have taken Devonta Smith, and all things considered, if that trade didn't happen, there is a chance that the next pick would not have happened. We'll get to that in a second. But wide receiver Devonta Smith goes to the Eagles. Did the Eagles finally fucking help and change their wide receiver room forever, drafting the Heisman winner?
Who knows?
Yeah, like
no one knows.
No one knows. Like
Eagles don't have a good track record on this shit.
It's so weird. It's so bizarre. They've drafted wide receivers all the time, and it never works out.
Whiteside, bust. Jalen Reagor, injured a lot. Don't know if it's a bust yet. But Nelson Aguilar, on his third team.
Right.
Although, to be fair, Nelson Aguilar probably the wide receiver one on his current team.
Oh my God, where is he now? Oh, Patriots.
The Patriots.
Yeah. That's true. You never know. Oh my God, yeah, that's true. Julian Edelman retired. I think we forgot to talk about that. Good receiver. But yeah, no, like it's, and that's the thing. Like, you think that the Heisman winner would finally work out for the Eagles, right? You think that a guy that with this much talent and this much like the wide receivers in this draft were so deep that you would think that this would finally work out for the Eagles, but yeah, you just do not know. And then we get to the main event of the draft. All of a sudden, Dave Gettleman's like, "Hey, it's me, Dave. You know, calling up the Chicago Bears, or actually no, I guess the Bears maybe called him." And then the ride pace of Dave Gettleman, probably the two among the most scrutinized GMs in the NFL at the moment, or at least as of the moment of this draft. They have this exchange that they're like, "Hey, you know what? You guys want to swap picks?" And boom, diggity, the Bears move up all the way from 20 to 11. And in terms of the overall draft picks, they basically get a 4th round pick from this past draft, and then for next year a 1st round pick and a 4th round pick. And who are the Bears coming up to get? You knew it had to be quarterback, and I
was terrified that it was going to be Mac Jones.
So just to give you a play-by-play, because this was great for us, because I'm the Giants fan, Matt was a Bears fan. This trade, the biggest trade in the draft, took place between our two teams, and we were just like, "Oh my God, holy fuck, this is great content for us, for our podcast, and just great for us generally."
Can I read off the texts?
Yeah, go ahead, just hit us with it.
All right, as soon as this loads.
But it was essentially actually let me just set up the text message real quick, because I was sitting there watching. I was in the meeting at that point. I was in the middle of my meeting, trying to, we're working on a project, and I had my mic muted. I was letting other people talk. Completely started ignoring what they were saying, because all of a sudden I look up at the screen, and before the graphic came up, and I closed Twitter, so Twitter probably knew about what was going on before I did. I look up and I see the backboards of the draft because they have like the big boards that show like who's picking. And I saw that the name that was there was not the New York Giants. I was like, wait, what is that? And I saw a C and I saw Chicago Bears and I'm like, oh my fuck. And I immediately text Matt and this is like a the exchange.
Yeah. So the exchange was, this was around, I think after the Broncos pick, I said, geez, Fields and Jones still being available is making me nervous. And you said #Bears.
Yeah, because I was like, this is good news for the Bears. This is great news for the Bears.
And then I said, Fields, please. Jones, I'm a bit iffy on, not sure of character.
Sure.
And then, oh boy, trade. You say, Bears, courtesy of Giants. And then me, oh my God, please be Fields.
Yeah. And then, and it wasn't Roger Goodell. It was another guy, I think, from the Chicago area that ended up coming, that was on stage. And he read it out. Bears select quarterback Justin Fields. For the second time in the Ryan Pace era, a trade up for a quarterback, and this time it is Justin Fields. Not nearly as scrutinized as the first one was, even like the first time people were right out of the gate where people were like, that was a weird trade for them. This is universally praised by the football cognoscenti. What do you think, my man? What do you think?
I adore it. Mm-hmm. I was not going into this draft thinking that we were going to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Just because the name of the game the past few years has been you need a top pick to get a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And with Justin Fields, who many people say is the second best player in this draft,
yep,
I was not expecting him to get past 10. Let alone the Bears be the ones to get him.
Yeah, I mean, he got past 10. It was the wild part, and he was going to keep on falling because the Giants would have gone, would have gone with a wide receiver, I'm guessing, or someone. Cowboys weren't going to draft a quarterback. Chargers weren't going to draft a quarterback. I think the Vikings, were the ones that you would have to be worried about because the Vikings were actually the reports after the fact were that they were going to go for Justin Fields if it were for the fact that the Bears fucked them over, which is great because the divisional rivals, fuck your rivals over, But so there was probably like a little bit of breathing room that the Bears had, but good that you jumped on it. And man, it's just such a good pick. And I think there was so much debate about Fields, and it was kind of just obnoxious, like, oh, he doesn't really like, he's not a real team player, like he doesn't he's not like the first in, first out type guy.
Oh
like,
my God, who cares?
It was like the typical like NFL football scout giving excuses, type thing. Like,
just tell him just say you don't like him.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, like
I don't like Ohio State either, but
yeah,
I like it a little bit more now.
But like to me, like the dude has so much talent and like that big of a name in college football. I understand that, like, because you have a big name in college football doesn't mean you're going to be a successful quarterback.
Of course.
There's those absolutely could be the case, and not every single one of these quarterback picks are going to work out. Like, that's just science. That's just the science of this whole thing.
A 68 completion percentage for 5,300 yards and 63 touchdowns in 2 years. Plus 867 yards and 15 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like he's just a big name, and he beat Clemson, which is hard to fucking do.
Yeah,
obviously with the help, Ohio State was very deep and talented, had a lot of different players, but Justin Fields fucking helped, And
here's the thing, so was Clemson.
Well, right? No, I know. I'm just saying though. Like I'm not trying to. I'm not. I think I'm just saying that Fields he's this guy that I feel like he's going to embrace this situation. I think he's going to do very well. I'm so excited for you. I think this is so much more. This is more fun than anything I could have imagined, because I did think like, oh my God, they're gonna trade up for Mac Jones. They're gonna fucking do it. Like I did not have faith because I feel like Ryan Pace like does not deserve the benefit of the doubt, and for at least the moment. I'm not saying that, like, this still won't be, like, a win or bust year for Ryan Pace and Mike Nagy. Like, I think their asses are still on fire. But this certainly helps. If Justin Fields is successful this year, this will certainly help both for their job status. statuses moving forward, which could be a good or bad thing. I mean, you never this is a very fascinating season for the Bears.
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time on the Bears because I think the draft pick was so important.
Well, it also included both of our teams. Yeah, it's both of our teams. You guys gotta give us, this is our space. It's fine.
Yeah. So with I am under the opinion that Matt Nagy will, if given the right pieces, he will be able to put production out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Trubisky was not that. Trubisky was not a Matt Nagy choice.
Sure.
It was Ryan Pace's choice. But John Fox was the coach at the time, and we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, no, it was disaster.
Yeah.
It was just disaster in the making.
With Justin Fields, who has a lot more college experience and is, in general, a better player, I feel really confident about this. I do think that the Bears are going to have some success this season and in the future. It is a great pick, and this absolutely is the type of pick that saves you your job.
Yeah. No, yeah. It definitely could. It definitely could. And so I'm so interested in watching the Bears this year. I usually try to. It's been hard for me in the last few years to get excited about it. I kind of try to live through your excitement of Bears season, and try to look for that. But now I'm just, even by myself, I'm just the Bears are gonna be interesting. Now I'm very curious to see how everything kind of plays out with them, moving forward. And we'll talk more, even more general off season as we go through the summer. But now. And we'll start rattling off picks here, and if we stop on anything interesting, we can pause. Cowboys drafted linebacker Micah Parsons. Chargers drafted offensive tackle Rashawn Slater Jr. The Jets traded up in this with the Vikings. Vikings traded down. This was as big of a leap as I believe the Bears took for the Giants. And the Jets drafted a guard, Elijah Vera Tucker. And now my opinion on this is, all the Jets fans that are upset that the Jets took a guard, please shut up. It's a guard.
You need it. You need it.
Just because it's not a very splashy position on the field. It's a fucking important position. Offensive line matters. When people say that the football is played in the trenches, yeah, it's a cliche saying, but it's kind of true. Offensive line matters. You do need to have protectors, and having a guy that was a safe pick for them, I think it's a huge win for them to get Elijah Vera Tucker. So good for them. And then the New England Patriots, the post Tom Brady era, finally has a young quarterback to start to put the face on. This is the post Brady era.
Right.
the promos of the documentaries on that, and then Mac Jones's face is now fucking in the center of that, because Mac Jones was taken here. Now I want to return to something that you said in our text messages. You said that you felt like Mac Jones had character issues. What was that? In what regards did you feel
this could have been Twitter bullshit, and just me getting caught up in the hype.
Sure.
Let's see. Mac Jones had a couple DUIs.
Ah, yes.
Which I think was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And DUI when he was 19.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, DUI is not good, and it's not
No.
I'm not sitting here being he's 19. No, you should not fucking drink and drive. You're at 19. You have you're able to process those decisions. You shouldn't make those fucking decisions. You should have done that.
There's another one. Ooh. Ugh.
Well, what's that? Hit me with it.
Let's see. Ex Alabama QB Mac Jones caught wearing a President Obama costume that says "No Obama."
Ooh.
So there's that too.
LMAO, yikes!
Yep.
So all right. So then he's problematic. But unfortunately, we have a few of those in the league. It's a persistent issue.
Yep.
in terms of this pick, you just putting that aside, it's I think that generally people had Mac Jones rated as the 5th best quarterback in the draft. So he did get drafted 5th best, and people did find this as a value pick. Generally, that people felt like this was a solid pick for the Patriots, a quarterback that they could build around. Maybe not a starter right out of the gate. Potentially have Cam Newton start out as the quarterback in New England, and then Mac Jones joins in the fray. But I mean, I look at this pick and character issues. Like those, not like great things at all. But I think that this was the right pick for them. Like I
agree.
They had to make a choice. They had to pick someone of the young quarterbacks. They had to move forward with someone to build around, because otherwise, I mean, what are they doing at that point? Like what? Like I understand that there is this faith around Cam Newton still, and I understand that he's this MVP quarterback that, all of a sudden has really fallen off the hill, and we don't know why he's not what he used to be. But I don't have faith in the guy that he's going to all of a sudden turn things around. Like it's kind of reached that point where it's like this has been kind of multiple years now where he's been injured and and then just not playing super well. And and granted, the Patriots team last year was not a deep team, talent-wise. So maybe the talent boom of this offseason could help him in that sense and put him in position. I don't know. They're a fascinating team to follow. I think that they made the smart move by taking a quarterback and starting to groom him at the very least, and potentially have him start if Cam Newton does not work out. That's how I see it, at least.
I agree.
But fuck the Obama shit, come on.
Yeah.
All right. The Cardinals then draft linebacker Zaven Collins. Raiders. So the theme of like all these drafts under Mike Mayock and John Gruden have been like, who, like, why are we doing this now? I don't want to know. They take offensive tackle Alex Leatherwood. And they're like, and it's so funny because I watch NFL Network, and for those who have been watching for many years know that Mike Mayock used to be the NFL draft analyst for NFL Network. I was watching as this pick happened, and Daniel Jeremiah, who is the replacement for Mike Mayock, Daniel Jeremiah has done a fantastic job as a draft analyst. I think he's one of my favorite follows in terms of really having good insight on the draft picks.
Top two analyst.
I mean, well, right. Well, it's him and what's his face from Mel Kiper, in ESPN.
Oh, okay. I see how it is.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It's Chet Avery. Just Chet Avery's just a given. You never have to say he's here's the thing, Matt. Those are draft analysts. Chet Avery is a draft god. It's a separate category. Okay. It's a separate category completely. So, but no, so Daniel Jeremiah's on TV, and he's just like, this is an interesting pick. He doesn't want to shit on his former colleague and a guy that he looks up to. He doesn't want to do that. So he's just like, that was an interesting pick. I had him in the 2nd or 3rd round. Interesting pick. Really, really nice about it, but you can't tell her what are you doing? And then Mayock came on a few days later. He was like, I don't fucking give a shit what people think. It was like, all right, I can respect it. I hope it works out for you, man. But it's just Dolphins drafted edge rusher Jalen Phillips. The football team drafted a linebacker Jamin Davis. That defense is fucking scary. That I'm telling you, they're going to be
Washington is going to be fantastic this year.
They're going to be a top 5 defense, and if Ryan Fitzpatrick works for them, man, oh boy!
Oh my god, I'm excited. I'm excited for Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I'm excited that he's getting I'm glad that he got to the team, and they changed their fucking stupid nickname. The culture generally, I mean, the culture's still bad because Dan Snyder's still there. That's just right. That's an existing issue that he needs to go. But the team that he has building right now, and who Ron Rivera is as a person, who I think many people would agree he's a very decent human being. and you want him to succeed. He's someone that's very easy to root for. So to see him have a team that looks like it's going to be successful, I'm so excited for him. So, I'm with you on that. Then the Giants, they draft wide receiver Kadarius Toney. Now, I was all right with the pick. I was just like, okay, it seems like a reach. Dan Hans is who I follow from the Around the NFL podcast, was like, doesn't it always feel like the David Gettleman just kind of like has one direct line that he's always going to follow? and I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically was like, he's never gonna, like, he must take a wide receiver no matter what. Like, he was gonna take a wide receiver in number 11, but he's still gonna take a wide receiver in number 20. Granted, Kadarius Toney is being compared to the talent of like Tyreek Hill and like those like speedy wide receivers, and like that it could end up working out for that is a very like flashy talent for the Giants offense.
Could be good with Galladay too.
Right. Like I'm where I'm at with the Giants is for once, I will go into the season thinking like they could be a playoff team. That would not surprise me if they're a playoff team. That has not been the case the last few years. So improvement, right? Yeah. I still think they could be a mediocre team. I still think they could even be a bad team. There's room for that. But I think that they have a defense that is beginning to grow and beginning to get good. They have had, like, they did kind of dwindle down as the season went by. So, like, I'm hoping that they kind of can consistently be good throughout the season this time. But then you pair that with an offense that has a ton of weapons now, a ton of different tools that Daniel Jones could work with. If Daniel Jones can fucking succeed, I would be flabbergasted, but I'll be so down. You know, I did not love the Daniel Jones pick, even though I wanted them to draft the quarterback, because I think that I thought that, oh man, like, Daniel Jones, that was picked early. Granted, I wanted Dwayne Haskins over Daniel Jones. Look how that worked out. Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, like, I do want to see Daniel Jones succeed. I hope that he does. But that's the big question going into the season for the Giants. I do think this was a decent pick. Could have gone something better. But ultimately, if it doesn't work out, hey, we fired Dave Gettleman, and the new GM has 2 first-round draft picks to work with. And,
there you go.
And a semi-talented team already, you know? Like, so, like, I can't be mad right now, ultimately, as a Giants fan.
All right. Next up is my second favorite pick of the entire first round. Yes.
So, Colts drafted edge rusher Kwity Paye. So I will say, like, I love that. I love the pun that we came up with on that. Kwity does have, like, the name actually does have, like, is very meaningful. So I don't want to make fun of it too much.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he has one of my favorite stories of the draft. He was born in Liberia. Is that how you pronounce it?
Liberia.
Yeah, Liberia. He's of a Liberian heritage. He was born in he was born in a refugee camp in Guinea during the aftermath of the first Liberian Civil War, and emigrated to the United States as a baby. He's named Kwity after his maternal grandfather, who was killed during the war, and his mother, along with him and his brother, moved to Providence, Rhode Island, when he was 6 months old. So he came from a rough situation, and he has just grown up to be like, and he came to the draft. He was at home, but he had a awesome Black Panthers styled suit that was so fucking dope. Like, I was just like, oh man, this guy's cool. Like, like, beyond the name and what we made of it from the first from the draft episode, like, I think he is my favorite player of the draft, because he has such a cool not cool backstory, but like a very, like, engaging and interesting backstory, that he was able to kind of work from where his family was to where they are now, and the fact that he's going to be able to make a ton of money and put his family into a much better state. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it's just a feel good story, you know?
Yeah.
But Yeah, the fact that Chet Avery nailed that pick was great.
It's great.
It was just fantastic. So I'm so excited about that. And then the Titans drafted cornerback Caleb Farley. This was an interesting pick because he was the one that had some injury concerns. And also was tested positive for COVID. Just before the draft, so he had to be sent home. He was going to attend the draft. But even beyond all that, he was, despite the injury concern, he is considered like a top quarterback prospect. So this could be a big pickup for the Titans. And then the Vikings, who this was the pick the Jets had. Vikings drafted offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw. And then the Steelers take running back Najee Harris. What did you think about this pick instead of an offensive lineman?
I actually think it's a good pick.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely through a more a fantasy lens than anything else.
Sure.
Because rookie running backs can be exciting. Pittsburgh was one of the locations where a running back makes sense to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Najee is talented enough that he'll be able to succeed here.
Yeah. I just think the big concern is the offensive line. Like that,
of course.
They did not address that at all in their draft.
No, that's definitely gonna be an issue.
And I think that's like, I mean, it might be more of an issue for Big Ben, but if Najee Harris could carry the team on his back, I mean, that works out, you know.
Yeah.
that's the good thing, and maybe like I think there's been like a lot of like. The Steelers are not like doing like amazing in the off season. Like I think there's a lot of like and also like how the season ended for them in such a miserable fashion. Like I think there's a lot of like, oh, I don't know about the Steelers team, but I think that they're gonna end up being like a little bit better than I think what we're gonna predict right now, because I think that they do still have a lot of good defensive players there. And I think that, again, if Najee Harris works out for them and the young wide receivers work out for Big Ben, like there's room. There's room for them to still like succeed. I don't know if they can do what they did last year.
No.
But like I could see this team being like 9-7, 10-6, making to like the wild card weekend at least. You know, like at their best, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if you know, but I also can see where this team completely falls apart. And then the Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence's teammate and right-hand man, running back Travis Etienne. Etienne, excuse me. My goodness, like why? That's so crazy.
Why? You have James Robinson right there. You fucking struck gold. You could have. Do you see that defense, Urban? No, let's add another running back who's now going to be, I guess, your third down back with your 1-2 punch of James Robinson and Carlos Hyde. Woo! Way to go, Urban.
Yeah, like I'm like, I don't know about that pick. I mean, I feel like Urban Meyer's just being cheeky. I don't know. I just feel like he's just like. Do we think that Urban Meyer secretly wants to be Dabo Sweeney?
I don't know.
Like, does he want Dabo?
So he's just drafting his players.
Yeah, he's just taking all of his players. Like
that'll do it
for whatever reason. Like the Texans just give up and they just trade Deshaun Watson in division to the Jaguars and then like Urban Meyer, you just see the transformation begin to happen. He's wearing like orange all the time. He accidentally shows up to a Clemson football game. Like, like he just like all hell breaks loose. Like just, oh god, that would, he and then like in 2 years he leaves for the Clemson jobs when Dabo Sweeney comes up to the NFL. Like it's this is all my lore. I'm building my lore. It'll flesh out over time. Browns draft cornerback Greg Newsome the second. Browns are getting some high marks on their draft. People are really liking what they did. Yeah. Ravens draft wide receiver Rashad Bateman. I mean, this just makes sense to draft a wide receiver here. They need a wide receiver. Saints drafted defensive end Peyton Turner. And then we get to the Packers pick. Just keep on refusing to draft a wide receiver in the first round. Cornerback Eric Stokes. Cool. All right. Who the fuck is that? I don't know. Hopefully, I wished him the best, but I also, who the fuck knows who he is.
Also, you made a mistake, Green Bay. Thank you.
Bills draft edge rusher Gregory Rousseau. Ravens draft edge rusher Jason Owe. And last but not least, of the first round, Buccaneers draft edge rusher Joe Tryon.
Another Chet hit.
Yes, yes, yeah. Very much so. But so that was a long segment, but we got, but we had, but no, it was necessary. We fleshed out the draft. Overall, I think it's so hard to say like if we all succeeded or not. But I think everyone has a reason to be excited about their teams. Like I kind of get like. People get like, oh, stop being excited. You don't know if it's all gonna succeed. Because I'm just like, let people be excited. Sometimes football needs. People need to be happy about football sometimes, even like the really shitty franchises, like that, let their fans down constantly and like they'll never have like a Super Bowl champion whatsoever. Let people be excited, it's just stupid. Speaking of excitement, the schedule release is coming next week and we are going to make some quick predictions here, about where certain matchups are going to be. We're going to start with the kickoff game. What do you have in mind, my dude, for the kickoff?
So I did want to go the Super Bowl champ route.
Okay.
But I didn't want to go a division matchup, and that made it a little bit weird because the Bucs don't have a ton of high importance home games, I guess you could say. In terms of prestige. So I went with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Just because I feel like they'd be marketable enough.
Right, and that like you could easily be like, all right, Dak Prescott returns to the field to take on Tom Brady. The storylines are there. Jerry Jones will, rake in the money. It's all good. I get it. I went with the Bills. With the Bills at Buccaneers. I felt like this was. I think the storylines are just that, Bills were one game away from facing the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I also thought Tom Brady and the Bills have a history where Tom Brady just dismantled the Bills constantly. And that it would be fun for the Bills to come into Tampa Bay after they win a Super Bowl champion and potentially destroy them. Yeah, to start the season off on a bad foot, or Tom Brady just does what he does with the Bills and rakes them over the coals. Either way, an interesting storyline for the kickoff. So, but I think that's, if it's not in division, because I could see in division there. I think it's gonna be one of those two, because Cowboys for the ratings purpose and just because of the just general intrigue of the Cowboys or the Bills as a playoff team. Yeah. And then the Thanksgiving games, because that's the other one that we know that there's going to be like a set formula for. So for the 1 p.m. game, what do you have for the Lions?
I decided I wanted to do something non-conference for the Lions, just because I thought that would make things interesting, and have a team that a lot of people are going to want to watch. So I have Baltimore at Detroit.
I actually have the same thing. I think the reason why for that was I was thinking on the same lines as you, and I think because CBS and Fox kind of switch between the two time slots constantly for this. So sometimes Fox has the early game and sometimes CBS has the early game. I think this year CBS will have the 1 p.m. game. I think it makes sense. Oh wait, no, the Texans played last year, didn't they?
Texans did, yeah.
Oh fuck. All right, whatever. We'll keep Ravens.
We'll keep it.
We'll keep it. All right. Throw all my points to the side. All right. Next, 4 p.m. I have I feel like they do Eagles at Cowboys or Washington at Cowboys constantly. I'm just gonna do the other NFC East team. I'm gonna say Giants at Cowboys for this.
There you go.
What do you have?
I did Washington this time. Just because I think Washington's going to be super fun this year. I would love to see them play on Thanksgiving. Oh
yeah. I think that's it's a more you're preparing for a more fun matchup in that sense. I totally get that. And then what is your primetime game?
My primetime game decided on doing a NFC South rivalry because that seems to be relatively common. I did Panthers and Falcons.
There you go. We had last time, which they fucking could not pull off last year because of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
They did initially have an AFC primetime matchup plan between the Ravens and Steelers that got pushed around like crazy. But if it succeeds this time, they'll have another AFC matchup in the Chargers at Chiefs. Feel like a fun Herbert Mahomes primetime matchup at Thanksgiving.
I like that.
Yeah, could be something to suckle your teeth on, for like because Thanksgiving. All right, so let's move on to the so I wanted to highlight 5 matchups that we thought would be interesting. Did you come up with a list yourself, or
I did not?
Okay, so all right, cool. I have a list then.
All right, we'll use your list.
We're gonna pinpoint 5 matchups, and we're gonna take our guesses to what week it's actually gonna be played on. We're gonna start with the Tom Brady revenge game. Buccaneers at Patriots is playing. Where do you think this game is played?
That's gotta be. I mean, we already had week 1 covered.
Yeah. Yeah, and plus Go ahead.
I'm gonna go week 10.
Oh, okay, week 10.
Important part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But not super late.
Okay, I'm gonna say, just for the sake of wanting to not have like, if the Patriots, I'm gonna take a guess and say, I'm not saying the Patriots will be 100% dreadful this year, but in case that does end up happening, just to prepare for a situation like that, I'm going to say that happens week 3 in prime time, maybe, just to kind of be like, hey, Patriots are 0-2, don't worry, we can still make this matchup seem more interesting. Sure. It's going to be interesting regardless, though, so it works out. All right, next up, Matthew Stafford hosts his former team, the Lions. Where do you think Lions at Rams will be played out on the schedule?
I think that actually might be... I also like how you said Matt Stafford and not Jared Goff.
Oh, yeah. Who cares about Goff, right?
Right.
Well, no, you're right though. The Goff is Goff
and Stafford. They're facing their former team. It's
exactly
good storyline.
Yeah.
I'll go week 5.
Week 5. Okay. I'm gonna say. Yeah, I feel like again, like I want to keep my strategy is to keep these early as well. Just because I feel like, again, they want to prepare for if certain, quarterbacks go down. I'll go later, though, here. I'll say week 8. I'll say week 8 for this one. See if we do well on that. All right. Next up. And this one I feel like should be talked about more, but it's not. Texans at Cardinals. I know the Texans are gonna be shit this year, but come on, you got JJ Watt, you got DeAndre Hopkins. They're hosting their former team that's in fucking shambles, and just trying to pick up the scraps. They took Davis Mills with their first pick in the draft. Man, they're giving up. They're throwing in the towel. It's over. This game is already, the score's already written down, but. Where is it going to be played?
They're going to bury it in... You know what? They're going to bury it in the first round of the fantasy playoffs, so week 14.
Week 14? Cool. I like that. I was thinking along the same lines. I'm going to say it's week 17 because of the week...
Even though 17 is usually division?
Well, because...
right. There's 18 weeks. Shit.
There's 18 weeks, man. There's 18 weeks. That's the thing. Yeah, so that's something that they keep in mind here. So I purposely did not pick division matchups because I knew that shit was gonna like confuse the fuck out of us. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna say week 17. I'm gonna say this is gonna be the like a final matchup. There's of course never know if those players will be available for that game, but who cares? The Texans are terrible. All right. Next up, Sam Darnold revenge game as the Jets come to Carolina to take on the Panthers. I'll start this one. Okay. I'm gonna say week 1, baby. I'm gonna say
I like that.
I'm picking week 1 just to see let's see your first test in the new uniform is against your former team. Let's see how you do, Sam Darnold. What do you think?
I'm gonna say there's enough storylines following week 1 that they're gonna do that one week 2.
Ooh, all right. I like the squeeze. Picks here. All right. So then next, and finally, I should say, the Jaguars at Bengals. And the storyline here, outside the Cats, is Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, the quarterbacks that took each other on in the CFB championship 2 years back when Joe Burrow demolished Trevor Lawrence in a very rare loss for Lawrence. Lawrence never loses, but lost that game. What do you think is going to happen here? What do you think is going to be?
Do I think
that placed?
That's got like week 6 written all over it.
Week 6.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that. I'm gonna say this is what I'm actually gonna put later. I'm gonna say week 11 for this one, and I'll do math on this, so we'll see how far apart each of us are on each of them. I also, just in case we already talked about one of the matchups, I had Dolphins at Titans written down because Ryan Tannehill is playing against his team. We don't have to do a prediction for that. But that was another just very interesting storylines to follow throughout the season. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so we'll see how well we do. You see if we've pinpointed well. I don't know what the prize is. I'll think about it. We have to reward people their spoons. By the way, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. That'll be a summer project.
Yeah, that sounds good. We gotta reward people spoons for their time at the first season of VBBFL. Speaking of which,
that'll be Ricky's housewarming gift.
Is he moving?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, he's just he opens up the empty house and resting in the middle of the floor is just a wooden spoon.
A my spoon. Congratulations.
He just says congratulations on it. It just has the fucking it has like a ball of yarn on it. Just like what the? He's not even gonna know what the fuck it's from. All right. Let us make our next team. So, just to catch you all up, so far in our next season of the VBBFL, we have the Ketchikan Cosmos, the Naples Astrogators, and the Portsmouth Submarines. And now, we're heading to Dakota. Okay?
Ooh.
South Dakota.
One big Dakota.
Unfortunately, not one big Dakota yet.
Oh,
Should be.
It should be.
We're
not getting into that. Let's keep going.
But you got South Dakota, Brookings. Or I'm curious. I guess it would be pronounced Brookings.
Brookings,
Brookings is the spelling on that. Is a city in Brookings County, so that's actually the county as well. So the first thing that stood out to me when I'm looking at this team. At this city, at this town. There's a section called Railroad on it. As it turned out, they're talking about history here. None of the 3 towns were chosen to be passed through by the railroad. Oh, wait. So they're saying the railroad crossed the Minnesota state line and into Brookings County on October 2nd, 1879. The track's being built at about 1 mile per day. The track and first train reached Brookings Main Street on October 18th, 1879. The railroad station was opened up a month later. Okay, so that actually does not... it made it seem like that was a big part of their history. I guess I guess not. So never mind. I had a lot of ideas. I was just like, all right, what kind of cyberpunky shit, like, or not cyberpunk, steampunk train shit can we come up with here? So anything for, I know you just started looking, but anything that stands out to you about Brookings, South Dakota?
I was looking at this for just a second because I believe that Brookings is home to South Dakota State University.
Oh, the Jackrabbits.
Jackrabbits, yeah. And if I'm correct, I have like a great uncle, like a distant relative who used to be a track coach here.
Okay, all right. So we we have a connection here. Yeah, that's fun.
All right, let me check. Yeah, South Dakota is eligible.
Oh yeah, no, it was 20,000 was the population. I had a few busts. This was a tough one to dig through because there was a few ones. First, I got Anchorage, which is we already have an Alaska team. We already got an Alaska team, and then there was another one that I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I forget what the name of it was. But that had like a population of like 6,000. You're like,
Yeah.
that's a little bit on the smaller side. You know, we got to support a bigger population. But the fact that South Dakota State University's here is nice, you know, because that's this town knows football. Then, you know, it's a football town.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, it's not quite North Dakota State, but
it's not. Yeah, it's like, you have to reach those levels. You know, you got undefeated every fucking season. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm trying to. They're really. What's really bumming me out about this one is that they do have a long history, but like I said, they have a railroad section that barely talks about the railroad. They're like, the railroad. It took a while for the railroad to reach there, and now the railroad's here. What the? I'm dumb. What the hell's a Metairie? Oh no, that's a town.
Metairie?
That's a town. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just like, I don't know what that is supposed to be.
Pioneer Metairie Railroad.
Okay. I see. So that was the first real. Oh wait, so this is. Am I looking at the? Oh no, this is a city. This is a city.
No, it's
okay.
a city.
Yeah,
It's in Brookings County.
Right. That's why I'm like, am I accidentally looking at the county Wikipedia? Is why I kind of went through my brain there. I was
gotcha.
But I realized that a city can have multiple towns within the city. I get that. You know. Is the hometown of the main character in Netflix's series Love. Which I don't.
I know that exists.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about that. Brookings is the hometown of Charles Percy in the ABC medical drama Grey's Anatomy. Jesus Christ, Grey's Academy. That's their spinoff, show. That's like their version of the Scrubs.
Season 9.
That's season 9, right? There you go. Brookings, although misspelled as Brookins, is mentioned several times in By the Shore of Silver Lake novel by Laura Ingalls. Just snores. Brookings was featured in the reality TV show 3 Wishes. Okay, so you all are so fucking uninteresting.
Yeah, there's not much going on here. It is South Dakota, but
it is South Dakota. Sorry, this is one of those states that just becomes a whipping boy for this podcast.
Okay, so I have actually recently been to South Dakota and in this general region of South Dakota.
Hit me. What did you experience in South Dakota? What was the energy?
So it was weird because like all of the roads kind of had a tinted red to them. So I would almost my immediate thought to make this more sci-fi is to do something Mars related, just because of the general vibe of South Dakota.
So here's my question then. So you don't want anything stars related.
Stars related. Stars and planets are different.
Right. No, I know. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. I mean,
okay.
Because we could do like Martian. I mean, I know that's not necessarily Mars, but like
right.
Martians could potentially be a fact.
Brookings Martians. That's a little bit clunky.
It's a little clunky. I mean, we could
check the.
Let's flesh it out though. We can keep on building on that. What is interesting about Mars ultimately? We know that Mars is most likely going to be like inhabited by like 50,000 humans in the next like 20 years or something like that. You know, like it's kind of bound for that at this point because it has the moment they find like a little droplet of water on Mars, they're like, oh my god, well we can't move here. all the rich people are gonna steal all the resources down here. We're all gonna be left to starve. Really dark. I apologize, but that's where my brain's going.
I'm trying to check out their city website.
Oh yes.
But they don't have an easy way to like find history.
What's with all these cities not wanting to like showcase their history?
What's with all these cities that like tried to provide community resources on their website? What the fuck?
Yeah, like what the like? Where are we talking? Like, give us the more interest. Give me the gossip. You know, isn't that why like people don't want to pay their taxes? Come on.
They have one liquor store.
You know,
that is listed on their website officially.
I mean, if I can respect that in some ways, you know, like, I mean, I'm sure that there was reasons for that. Yeah, and as usual, when we go into like talking about histories of towns, there's always something like fucked up about it, you know.
There's some stuff you don't always want to read.
Yeah, like I'm kind of reading about it here. It's just like, it's like it's a lot of it's the same, like, was land that was once owned by indigenous individuals, and then the white man came.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, all right, cool. This is it's just like every other fucking story that has a bad ending.
And then you find out that like what was it? Anaconda was like the home of the first socialists in Montana.
And then you learn that you're like, I respect this town.
Yeah,
I like this town.
All right, so I think the biggest things that we see here are the kind of the red tint to all the stone,
Sure.
as well as trains. Trains seems to be something that this at least mentions.
Trains is big. I like the idea. The locomotives, the Brookings locomotives. You know, but that's I know that's not sci-fi.
Yeah, there's something there though where we can like take that to some sort of like cool level.
Right.
Very nerdy level, but a cool level.
Sure. I mean, if we type in train synonyms, this is like it's going right back the same path. We have, and that's not the. I don't want the verb of train. Give me the actual building, the actual vehicle.
So we go from 2 star related things to 2 vehicles.
You got convoy. That's true. Yeah, we went with 2 stars at 2 vehicles. Caravan. I mean, and while I'm doing the train stuff, how about you do Mars related stuff too? Because I feel like we can learn something about Mars here. We're completely forgetting about everything else. But again, like I gotta be honest, Brookings, you kind of have a boring city. You know,
yeah.
It's just that at the end of the day, red tinted roads of South Dakota, is, you know, kind of the vibes that all, you know. The what stands out the most, and then the fact that you have a railroad a subsection of Wikipedia dedicated to railroads, even though the railroad didn't come until 1879. You know, so it's how it be. It's how it be. The Cybertrain.
Cybertrain.
Well,
yeah. I mean, we add any sort of like robo
train,
electro,
electro train,
yeah,
you know, subway. Like that would be that would be great for like New York City or something.
The Brookings Martian subway.
I kind of love that.
Martian subway of Brookings.
The Brookings Martian subway, even though they don't have a subway, even though that's nothing at all, and they have nothing to do with Mars.
Martian Railroad. Train to Mars. That would be a weird team name if someone named themselves the Train to Mars.
The Train to Mars.
The Brookings Train to Mars. Okay, but in all honesty, the Brookings Martian train.
The Brookings Martian train.
So dumb. I don't know how to combine these things.
You're giving me so many ideas that I'm like I want to roll with it.
Yeah, okay, let's keep going. Let's play in the space.
Just like, okay, like, all right, hold on. Let's give some space to Mars then. Let's give some space to Mars in some capacity for us to understand. It's the 4th planet of the solar system.
Yep.
It's the it's the mom. Is it the mom or is that Mercury?
That I actually don't know what the mom is supposed to be. Venus is like Mars is like the god of war.
Well, you know what I mean though. Like it's like the acronym, and I believe one of the M's is mom.
Are you thinking of the failed motion capture Disney movie Mars Needs Moms?
I did not know that was a thing. That's great. The Brookings Mars Moms.
We're not referencing Mars Needs Moms.
But okay. So it's being in Mars carries the name of the Roman god of war.
Yeah.
It's just the fucking like Brookings Kratos.
Brookings War Train.
Right. The War Train. Oh my god, wait a minute. I kind of like War Train.
I really like War Train.
The Brookings War Train.
Alright, so we have to make it red to be like Mars and the blood of the enemies.
The fuck it, I'm over it. Let's go.
I think we're doing it. Alright, the Brookings War Train.
It's called Death
I don't
Dream.
care how long it will take for us to explain this to people.
I am in love with this league more than I am in love with it.
Unless we refuse to explain any team names to anyone.
I don't know. There's a part of me that, like, I kind of am with you on that, because I think that explaining to people are just like, alright, whatever. I feel like just presenting this with no fucking comment is just like, alright, pick your team. And I'm just like, I cannot fucking wait to see the logos.
Oh my
god, the logos
would be brilliant.
Brookings War Train. So you're thinking red.
It has to be red.
Yeah, so I'm with you on red. I'm just trying to think of what other color here.
Okay, what kind of red do you want to do? I searched up blood red, and it's a little bit of a darker red. In season 1, Escondido I think was our only red team, and they were more of a red.
Well, so I'm feeling like if we're doing Mars, right? Yeah. I'm feeling like a red orange makes sense.
Red orange, yeah.
You know, like at least to match the color of Mars as it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. If that's our inspiration behind this.
All right, I searched up Mars Red, and apparently that's the name of an anime. So don't.
So we won't mention that.
Yeah.
We don't want to get copyright struck. Now, granted, just so I do acknowledge that we do have an orange in a team already with the Portsmouth Submarines, but red orange
is a bit different.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a different tinge, and then we could choose a different color for this. So I don't think we should do black or gray again, because I feel like that kind of leans towards what we did with East Chicago. So I don't know. Like, do we think that we do something?
We did have East Chicago that was red too.
Right. That was like a darker red, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so the red orange will stand out from the other ones.
Yes, it's something new. Yeah. What do you think of yellow?
Red, orange, and yellow.
It's a little red, a little mustardy, I understand.
Yeah.
If we want to try something else, I'm down.
All right, red, orange, and yellow.
Because again, like, we're thinking like War Train. So
right, what is War Train? What is the most like fucking like just intense color that we could have?
If I'm being honest, I think blue. I just like to combine it with that. But
I respectfully disagree.
No, that's fine. No, I'm totally fine with that.
Okay, if we could do like a red, orange, and maybe gold. Like a gold yellow, because that would give a little bit of like a Spartan vibe to it.
Sure. Like we're kind of approaching like USC, but not necessarily like that red, like a little bit more of a brighter red.
Yeah.
I respect that. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. So we could go with that.
The Brookings War Train.
I love it.
With red, orange, and gold.
All right, and now for the location. This was the one that I gave you a lot of joy because I think we could just have a lot of fun with. The location, the home games for the Brookings War Train will take place in the Overcooked universe.
Oh my god. You know, playing Overcooked feels like a war train. So
it feels like a fucking war train. It feels like you're fighting a war with yourself.
And everyone else with you.
And everyone else that you're playing with. I adore this team. I am just down. I am so down for this. And to give you guys an insight as to the other locations, by the way, the Ketchikan Cosmos are playing in the Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout universe. The Naples Astral Gators are playing in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. The Portsmouth Submarines are playing in the Paper Mario universe. And then the Cooking Sport Train are playing in the Overcooked universe. I feel like thus far, Overcooked and Fall Guys are like, like I think that's gonna be
good picks.
So fucking good.
All right, being in South Dakota actually knocked out a lot of neighboring states. North Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Iowa have all been eliminated.
All right, we're gonna miss those though. You know
what?
Are we gonna miss those? You know, really at the end.
I mean, they're all pretty similar.
Yeah. That's.
I mean, you can find like some differences from Wyoming and Iowa, but
yeah. It's kind of, like, to me, like, it's the difference between like corns and potatoes at that point. You know, like it's kind of like you know, the crops change. You know, but that's about it.
It's a little more mountainous.
Yeah. It's a little bit less like flat. I get that. Yeah. I get that. Well, that's that. It's a mess, and I kind of love it though. In the same time, it is so fucking strange. And I'm here for it. I'm so here for this VBBFL season right now. So next episode, if I remember correctly of what we were going to... Okay, so right as we got into... either it was the week that we did the draft, the mock draft, or of draft week, we found out that the next installment in the in John Boyce's series that he's working on is not coming out until
in the spring.
Yeah, at least in the spring.
Later this year.
Yeah, it's coming out later this year. So we're moving up the episode. So we're going to talk about next episode 2 weeks from now. We're going to be talking 20,021.
Nope, 20,020.
Excuse me.
20,021 is part 2.
That's part 2. I apologize. Yep. 20,020 will be the next will be next episode. So I know a lot of people enjoyed the 1700, 1776. I only know that because of the Anchor.fm like statistics about how that's our most watched episode.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, and we'll have a big old discussion about that. That's usually a fun episode too, because it's a nice deep discussion about things, and also just a fun episode because there's a lot of like silly references that happen in that story as well. I recommend. Read it.
I cannot wait for you to read it.
Yeah, like I cannot wait and I hope that you guys who listen to this read it before coming onto the podcast and listening to it. I've done it before though, where I listen to a podcast and I have no idea what they're talking about, and I still enjoy it. So like it's so up to you, but I would recommend that you read it before coming onto this podcast, because it will be spoiler filled, and very much us taking a deep dive into it and comparing it to 1700, 776. Which is the previous installment. And of course, we'll talk about any of the latest NFL news that has gone down, maybe what the schedule was, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of stupid reports that come out. That Aaron Rodgers and whoever wants to open their goddamn mouth and cause controversy. So we'll keep track on that. And of course, we're halfway through the creation of the VBBFL, so Team 5 will be next. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Any final thoughts, Matt?
Let's see. Docket, go watch Wolfwalkers. Apple TV.
I'm enjoying that you're turning your the Ivana Music Twitter account into doing movie stuff. I appreciate that, because I feel like I've been very obnoxious lately on my Twitter feed about talking video games. So I'm like, I like the idea of people just turning their Twitter accounts and turning it about like an interest, like a niche interest to them, and then just talking all the time about it. Like I'm down for that. I'm so into that. So I'm excited that you're doing movie stuff on your Twitter.
Yeah, I watched just a couple really good movies recently. The Mitchells vs. the Machines on Netflix was just a really good animated movie, and I highly recommend it. If you like the kind of the visual style feel of Spider-Verse, it's not quite the same, but it's the same animation studio, and they put a lot of stylization into it. And then the writing of Gravity Falls, That's what you get from Mitchell's vs. the Machine, and it is so apparent that Gravity Falls writers wrote this movie.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's Apple TV, right? You said.
Mitchell's is
Wolfwalkers.
Netflix.
I meant to say Wolfwalkers.
Yeah, Wolfwalkers is Apple TV Plus. Wolfwalkers is probably my new favorite movie of all time.
Really?
It's up there. Like
wow.
There's definitely some recency bias talking, but
sure, no, I get that.
If I considered like the idea of Wolfwalkers as my favorite movie of all time is not far fetched.
Yeah, I think people are like, oh, recency bias, but like I don't know, over time, like things evolve and like movies evolve, TV shows evolve, video games evolve, like things evolve over time. So it's like you're gonna get better products over time. So it makes sense. I get it. So yeah, it just surprises me because I'm like, wow, that's a big praise for Wolfwalkers. Then
it is high praise, especially for someone like me.
yeah.
No, but it's a gorgeous movie. More animated movies need to be 2D animated.
Oh yeah.
It's by an
Lost
Irish
Art.
studio, so the Irish aesthetic is just seeping through it, and I love Ireland.
Yes, we've bonded over once many times.
Yep.
on that front with the Irish roots there. I'll throw out a recommendation here, and because I just said I'm been playing. My goal for the end of the year is to play 100 video games I haven't played before, or at least if I played them before, beat them in a new way. And one of the games I played this year, that is a small game that's $10 on Steam. Before Your Eyes, play it, experience it. It's a little, I would say content warning. A lot of talk about death and illness, for both people and animals. So I would, it is a bit traumatic. But it is probably one of my favorite stories ever told in a video game, and played it's only like 2 hours long. It's a very short game, and the whole game you have two controls, where one is that you can move your mouse around to have like your camera move around, and then the other control is your eyes. You are just all you're doing is blinking to like activate certain things, and sometimes you have to try to make yourself not blink in order to stay in a scene, or if you want to move out of a scene, you can blink and try to get out of it. It's wild. It is just a wild experience, and I was through an emotional wreck throughout the whole thing. But if you, barring the content warnings, like if you enjoy some really good stories in video games, give it a try. It's a good time. So, anyways, thank you all so much for listening. You better watch Wolfwalkers and play Before Your Eyes. That's your homework.
There you go.
And what was the other one that you mentioned? The other movie?
The Mitchells versus the Machines.
There you go. It's your homework. If you don't do it, you're getting an F.
Also 20,020, because we're doing that on the next podcast.
That's a bigger priority than the others right now.
Prioritize that, then do the other ones.
And then the other ones if you have the free time, all right?
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week, or 2 weeks.
Good night, and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys, and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.